Yes. Welcome, welcome. Thank you, Ali. Hey, people. Hello, hello. I love y'all. How y'all doing? Yes. Yes. Happy Friday. Happy Friday. I am so thankful for this day. I have an amazing powerhouse woman, arts leader, dancer, performer, just incredible creature joining me today, human being. We are lifting her up today, Miss Charisma J, and I can't wait to bring her in. But really quickly, I always have to give shout outs to my people who are doing creative, amazing things. And I love books. I'm a slow reader because I get distracted. However, I have a lot of books. And I just got some recent books in the mail, which I'm so happy. Jessica Care Moore's We Want Our Bodies Back. I know it's backwards, but We Want Our Bodies Back. Poetry, Poetry, Poetry through Harper's Imprints. First woman of color, Black woman since Gwendolyn Brooks. Big deal. It's a big deal. I also have by Marie Mahan, the Black Diamond Queens, Sisters in Rock and Roll. Yes. And just got The Queen's English by Chloe O. Davis. This book is the LGBTQIA plus dictionary. So this one is actually in my bio. The link is in my bio. Order it. Support Chloe O. Davis. Hard copy. It's fabulous. So congrats to Chloe. Amazing dancer also with Camille A. Brown. So the sisters are doing it. I'm so proud. So in honor of that, I'm so happy to speak to Miss Charisma J today. And we are going to bring her right in because we have a lot to get to. So let's bring her in. Here we go. Hey, Kevin Simbe. Yes, this is going to be...
How are you?
Hey, Queen, how are you?
I am well. I'm hanging in there. How are you?
I know. I am holding you up. I am lifting you up. I am giving you a virtual hug and love and all of the above. Well, first of all, you look beautiful.
Oh, thank you so
And
much.
I appreciate you coming on today and joining me today in light of, your family and your nan. And so I appreciate you. I lift you up. I send you love.
Thank you.
And
It's a tough time.
okay.
It's a tough time for us all. This is just a tough time.
Yeah.
And it's a tough time, honestly, to be Black in a hospital, to be honest.
Yeah. So
it's tough for us to be Black outside in the world.
Yes.
And then it's even tougher, like when you need the help, like when you expect the help in a hospital, it's even tougher to be Black in a hospital.
Yeah, so I mean, I had a ton of questions about, of course, your life and career, as I always do with my guests. Mm-hmm. But when I saw, this week, the news of your nan's passing, I reached out and I said, we could postpone. And you were like, no, we need to talk about this. So I want to give you the floor. I mean, whatever you want to share, however much you want to share.
Sure. So, I appreciate you and I appreciate the work that you've been doing in our community. And you are one of those who really just like pushes the envelope and presents us, you know what I mean? Like supports us, encourages us, like creates that space in these spaces where we're not usually welcome, where we have not always been welcome. And so I lift you up for your efforts, because I know during this time where you have always been that arts advocate that we need, that presents us no matter what. It's like, ain't no way to present us. You know, it's like, how do you flip and pivot in this moment? So I've been following you for a long time, but also just like wanting to give you energy, because even something as simple as this,
Yes.
it takes work to do, to just create some kind of way for us as artists of color, as people of color, to be seen and be heard. So
Absolutely. Thank you. And that's exactly why I started this platform, was to use whatever reach I have to give those voices a place to come and share and raise money. Let's be real. And raise money.
I appreciate you for that. So in terms of my Nanan, you know, Nanan lived by herself up until 3 weeks ago. Okay.
Wow.
She had all her faculties. I mean, she obviously was an elderly woman, so things were challenging. She wanted to have her own space and her independence, and she fought for her own independence, even with our family. Like, no, you need to stay with us. No, this is not going to work. So she wasn't your average 98-year-old. Even in the hospital, she was not your average 98-year-old. They would often say, like, she has legs stronger than me. She has all of her faculties. She has a memory like an elephant. Like, how did this all happen? But I feel like what happened in the hospital and what has been happening in the healthcare system is that if you do not have the billions, you do not have access. And that's just what it is. Like, period. So you do not have, you know, like, all we can do. And I mean, I don't have $1 billion, but I consider myself of some level of middle class, working class, you know, like, we just like make it work. But that still puts you in this box of being from the poor communities. It still puts you in this box of not having a seat at the table, not having access to the same resources, regardless. So I'm like floored by it, because even though we worked so hard, she was the first in my family to come from Panama to this country, and she like worked so hard to make sure that she provided for her family. It doesn't matter, because when we get to the hospital, when you need, right? Because up until this point, oppression has been existent this whole time in this country. Like, it's how this country started. So up until this point, we have all, and our ancestors have figured out some way, shape, or form how to not need nobody. All right, y'all ain't gonna, you know, you're not gonna present or let us come into your theater. We're gonna open our own theater, or we're gonna do our own thing, or we're gonna have our own organization. Oh, okay, I don't see people that look like me in your institution. I'm gonna create an institution where people look like me, right? So we have figured out how to navigate that, but it's the moment where you actually need, like, that is like, whoa, we can't not need in this moment, because she needed oxygen. You know what I mean? Like, what can you do? You can't take her home because she needs oxygen and she needs their help, the powers that be. And so in that moment of just like need to watch, we were treated like poor people, straight like that. Straight like that. We were treated like we could not voice, like, she was, up until the day she passed, she was adamant about, I don't want the poison they're giving me. I want you to bring me some clove oil. I want you to, you know, give me some turmeric and ginger. I need, you know, you to rub my feet. And I'm like, nah, they're not letting us inside. You know, like, because the hospital shuts everything down.
Right.
Everything down. And then you have that challenge of, should I go? Am I going to get exposed? Like, what's going to happen? But I am just so grateful that the fighter in me and the cayenne pepper and turmeric in my bones and in my blood, like, protected me so that I could be there for my great grandmother during these last days. Because the way that this whole structure is set up, it is not set up for us, and it has not been. This is not a surprise to us. But I just thought that in an emergency, you know, like in the emergency room, that would be a different experience, and it wasn't. So it's really, to me, about how do we move forward? We need capital, y'all. Like, Period. My mom is here. We need capital.
I love your mom.
We need capital. Hey, mommy. We need capital. Because otherwise we are treated like poor people.
Are you comfortable to say which hospital it was?
I feel like it's all of them, Danny. I'm
Right.
like,
Okay. I feel you.
at this point,
Yeah.
if you're not in a private hospital with private care, with private
Yeah.
access, with
Mm-hmm.
private resource,
Mm-hmm.
then you don't
Yeah.
have. Unfortunately, you just don't.
Yeah.
Just don't. So we're trying to navigate what that looks like now, because even something as simple as, okay, let's get an autopsy. Oh, well, you have to, get your own investigator, because, and I'm like, what's
Mm.
going on? It's really about dollars and cents.
It is. It really
Oh,
is.
mommy didn't feel no way. She said it was Kings County Hospital. I know that's right, mommy. She said she got time today. She said she got time. Mommy was like, no, we're saying, okay, mommy, we're saying.
Go call it out.
But yeah, no, it's no joke. No
Mm.
joke. This whole thing is no joke. And I don't think that it's only the COVID that's no joke. I think that we are in several pandemics.
Yes. Oh yeah, we've been in a pandemic since they brought us here.
Period.
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 Can I ask, was it COVID related, her passing?
That's what they allege, but
Yeah.
that lady was ironclad tight.
Yes. 98.
98.
God bless.
Cooked her own food.
Yes.
Washed her own clothes. Never went out. She heard this pandemic stuff going on. She said, you ain't gonna catch me.
You know, it's amazing, again, the synergy sometimes with these conversations that I have with people. Literally 2 other of my sister friends this week, and I'm gonna try to hold it together, but I know how close you are with your mom. Yeah, I've seen it. I've witnessed it. She's been to most of the events that you've put on with me, teaching or otherwise. She's been there. And just last night I was speaking to a friend of mine who has a 96-year-old dad and 88-year-old mom, and they're living independently. They're married. They're together. And her father, he's a war veteran. He helped storm. He was in Normandy and all this and that. Still driving, which she's like, Dad.
No, literally, no, but it's possible. So
Yeah.
the thing now is that after the age of 75 in this country, you are considered dying of natural causes.
Right.
And I'm like, I know that y'all see this 98-year-old woman and you think that she has lived her life, but if she wanted to live to 120, that's her prerogative.
Exactly.
If your friend's father wants to drive at 99, that's his prerogative.
Right.
You know what I mean? People, it's possible, but we get into this, I guess, like warped understanding of what can be possible for our lives.
Yes.
Get into this whole, like, oh, if she lived to 70, no, our family, our generations, our legacy has longevity.
Exactly. Yes, absolutely.
It wasn't until we came to this country that we started experiencing it as people of African descent, cancer. We weren't experiencing cancer in Africa. We weren't experiencing some of these illnesses that we experience here. And you know why? Because we had access to vitamin D. Danny, they weren't even giving her vitamin D in there.
Oh, come on.
You understand? So there's really, for me and my mom, we're really seeing how this is more than ever not set up for us. And us people of color. It's not set up for us. So I said on a call yesterday, I was teaching an assembly, and I said, listen, little kids, listen to me carefully. I'm going to close out with this. Get you some clove oil. Get you some cayenne pepper.
Yes.
Some turmeric and ginger. Armor up. Armor up from the inside. Have some wheatgrass. Get you some celery juice in the morning to take care of that high blood pressure. Like we really gotta get back to our roots in this.
We really do. We have gotten so far away from that. And, my mom, of the last probably 15 years, she finally stopped smoking, which was, that was a whole thing. But she's been juicing. My mother will be 74 this year. Miss Karen, Libra, my rock, my heart and soul. She's been juicing. She's not on any medication.
My great-grandmother was not on any medication. Nothing.
It is possible. It is possible. She's just starting now to get little aches in her knees, whatever. But, running these streets, doing what she needs to do. She's so frustrated that she can't, run them more because obviously of COVID.
Right.
But, solid woman. And my grandmother too. She's 92, full faculties, doing her crossword puzzles. We talk every couple of weeks. I'm like, hey, Nan. Hey, Danny, what you doing?
Right, right.
It's right.
Literally, Danny, like 2 days before she, no, 3 days before she passed, we were sitting there and we were talking. And like, even up until the day she passed, like, she's like, clear. No,
Yeah.
clear. So
Yeah.
a couple of days before she passed, we were trying to remember, because when she came to this country, she was actually supposed to represent Panama in the Olympics, because she
Oh,
was an
wow.
athlete. So we were trying to remember the year. So we're talking, and I'm like, Mom, what was the year? And my mom was like, 1930. And she looked straight at us and she was like, 8. Okay.
Come on. Come on.
All right, and then, so you know. She's like, it was 1938.
Oh, bless
So I
her.
feel her spirit here. I am doing my part, and my mom, we're gonna do our part in trying to just fight for her, because we know she went out fighting. I do believe that there was some kind of malpractice. I don't believe that. I feel like they saw this 98-year-old woman and thought, she lived her life, but she wasn't finished.
She
So,
wasn't finished.
and I see somebody in the comments is saying that their grandmother will be 101 on February 21st. Happy birthday to her, because she's gonna make it to 101. Like, we're out here. We're out here. It's
Yes.
possible. It's possible to live long.
So it's right. And can I just ask you this? Because now I'm curious. What was her sport?
What was her sport? She was track and field.
Yes. Go.
She's been running ever since. That lady been running ever since.
And honestly, I gotta tell you, that's everything I do with the thought of I want to be able to take care of my mom. And I do what I can now, but she refuses my help at every turn. She really does. If I have a little extra money and I want to get her something, no, you use that, buy yourself something. I'm good, I'm fine, But she did everything for me and my sister, and I want to do everything I possibly can as she gets into her older years. And that's real, without
We
them.
also just need to prepare. I think that, especially as artists, I actually had a financial planner come in 2 years ago to talk to me and my mom about just like what was our plan, because when you're working as an artist, you don't always have insurance. You don't always have the thought of what happens beyond you, right?
Yeah.
Because you're just trying to get to the gig or get through
Right.
the gig, right? And I remember crying to him because he's like, "What assets do you have?" I'm like, "Oh my God, like, what's your like what property do you own, or what do you?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, oh my God, like, what do I have, right?" So what
That's
do
real.
I have? So in these moments, it's becoming clearer and clearer that we need to think about beyond right now.
Yeah.
We just have to invest. We have to do more to think about beyond right now, for our families, for ourselves, because if we get stuck in the right now, then we're in that rat race. We're on that hamster wheel, and we don't push forward.
Yeah, I'm curious. I wonder if any of the arts institutions or colleges or anything like that, they probably, I don't know, do they teach any kind of sort of artistic or side,
Life after? No.
financial planning or
Life
anything?
after? No. I mean, I have been in some of my classes. So I am a professor of dance at Hunter,
Yes.
and I teach my class life.
Yes.
I'm like, listen, first day. And that's how my teachers taught me. That's how your teachers taught you. Like, we were having those kinds of global conversations, but unfortunately it's not in the curriculum, right? It's like, oh, you're taking out time, and sometimes it's called too urban or too, it's too down to earth. Like, you need to be structured. And it's like, no. I want to talk to you about you.
Right.
Because you are a whole person coming here into my class.
Yeah, even I think about my generation of dancers with Ailey, most of us, I'm pretty sure, didn't finish college. We didn't have like the beautiful programs they have now, like with the Fordham program at Ailey, the Hunter program and so, we didn't have a lot of going out of it, marketable skills outside of
Dance.
doing what we did, which
That's
is
right.
dancing. And then when you can't dance anymore,
That's
then
right.
what do you do? And then you're taught these things when you're dancing that don't have a plan B, because that means you're setting yourself up to fail.
Right.
These days, I'm like, bullshit. I call bullshit. I'm sorry.
Right.
You have to have at least a working idea of maybe what you could do.
Right. Or at least sharpen the skills. And I am the opposite of that, because I sharpen so many skills. Like, I can do so many things, and my mom invested her time in me so that I could develop so many different parts of me. And I'll be told, oh, you know, like you're a jack of all trades. And it's like, no, I'm planning my life here.
Right.
I'm preparing my future because
Yeah.
these knees start to ache, these bones start to shift, things start happening. I
Yeah.
need to know that I have all of these other parts of me, these facets of me that
Yeah.
I have sharpened.
And the wonderful thing, I mean, we're in the age now, there's so much online, there's so much access, but
This is a beautiful
still
time, yeah.
a lot of young folks, older folks too, just don't know where to look. You know, case in point, like even this week, I decided to just to see. I mean, I've been okay this whole time with the pandemic and COVID. I've tested negatively each time with rapid tests. But I
Same, yeah.
decided, yeah, to go get the antibody test, right? And just to see in case I'm a carrier. I don't know. And I found a place online a few blocks away. I was able to make an appointment. I paid like a little $10 service charge online. I got there for the appointment like 15 minutes before as instructed. And there was a line wrapped around the corner. I was like, oh, damn. But I said, okay, fine, whatever. So I went all the way down, had my little coffee on my phone. I was ready to just, whatever, Facebook.
Right.
And I started hearing, Daniele. I was like, are they looking for me? I just got online. And sure enough, they were looking for me because when I got there, they tell you to like press some little thing in the email confirmation to let them know you're on site around.
Sure.
And so then I had to walk past back all these people that are looking at me now like, well, how the hell? But it was because I looked online, I researched, I knew to get an appointment.
You prepared ahead.
I'm out of there in 10 minutes. So
it's about preparation.
And when I left, and I kind of felt guilty. Like I felt guilty. Even
Right. But it's the research. And to that point, so when my great grandmother got into the hospital, they gave her their standard COVID drug. Like they gave her their standard, but she's 98. Like we as the advocates, as the people that are entering also need to know with our research that we've done, what the side effects of this thing could be, what could happen. Like there has to be something that could happen that's not always going to be favorable or like what the doctors say. So and she literally had every side effect.
No.
Every side effect.
Oh no.
You understand? And so to your point about doing the research and being prepared, and like we have to research. My mom called me this morning like, Charisma, I need you to know that I would want to go to X, Y, and Z hospital if ever. And the only time you take me there is, like we don't have those kinds of conversations. We don't do that extra research to go, let me find a place near me online. Let me look them up. Not all of us do that because we're going in this, I call it the quicksand of New York City or where we're from. We're going.
Yeah.
We're going. But it really does. All of it, I think, requires research. This whole thing.
It does.
It really requires a significant amount of research to make informed decisions and to get out in 10 minutes.
Right. And, knowledge takes some of the fear away. I mean, like a friend of mine is facing surgery, right? And I've never actually said this publicly, but I have had my hip replaced. Okay. I'm full metal jacket over here. Okay. And I've never said that publicly. I don't know why. Because, we were talking about, the outwardly facing thing of that, oh, you sound old. If you tell people you had a hip replacement. Okay, whatever. Okay, look.
Talk about it.
But, she's so fearful. And I said to her, but knowledge is power. And so it was the night before her first consultation with the surgeon, my surgeon, actually. And I said, do you have your questions ready? And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, because when you get in there, you're going to be so nervous and overwhelmed and emotional, you might forget the things to ask.
That's right.
So, write them down now, or just, think it through so that way you can walk away as fully informed.
That's right.
As you can.
And we need questions. Questions demand, and then you demand answers. And sometimes, like you said, you get all like, what do I say? Write those questions down beforehand. But that's a thinker. Like you're coming from this experience and this perspective of being a thinking individual so that you're prepared in the moment. Not that your friend is not, but sometimes the fear takes over, all of those things. So we need, if it's not me, like my mom there to ask. So like in my family, everybody wants my mom to come because to any visit, any doctor's visit, People think my mom is a doctor. That's how many questions she comes in there with for the doctors.
My mom is the same way, but it's
like
true.
You gotta be straight and have everything clear.
Yeah, but that also, you know, speaks to the disparities, how we're treated sometimes. So you go in there with your questions.
Very much so. They tried to kick her out. Yeah, right. They tried to kick her out. They kicked her out. They took notes down in the hospital, even for my great grandmother. They're writing notes about, oh, you know, her granddaughter is, yeah, no, we're here, great and grand. Let's go. We're here. And we have our questions, we have our advocacy, but it really requires that level of power and passion. And sometimes it's scary. Like, I was even like, are we pushing? You know, like, you know, you're just like, I hope this works. No. But to now have this be the outcome, I feel a sense of some relief that we took the risk and asked the questions that we did, you know, because otherwise, what could have gone on there? And just being in the hospitals during this pandemic is so isolating. It is so depressing that many of these hospitals are neglecting these patients because they don't want to be exposed. So, you know, there were hours that I would be sitting on the outside of her room and no one came to check on her. You know, it's like, these are very real things going on in this country. Yeah. Very, very real things. So I'm just grateful that I had the wherewithal and I had the support of my mom to be pursuing things on a higher level and thinking on a different, you know, going deeper and really trying to investigate things rather than just being presented with what's right in front of me.
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people that go into, you know, I've had family members, my uncle actually, and his wife, they would go to their doctors, but they would allow themselves to get intimidated by the doctors, and the doctors just writing them off. And then my mom would say, well, did you ask this? Well, did you ask that? Right. And they'd be like, well, the doctor said, no. Right. This is a collaboration. Whatever this procedure is a collaboration, and you are involved in your care. You should be involved in your health and your recovery. Absolutely. And you have the right.
And you have the right.
Questions.
You do. And I know that they try to intimidate, like you said, but at the end of the day, and I was pre-med in school. So one of my...
I saw that, yes.
Yeah. So one of my, listen, my many interests has always been that the arts heal. And I wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, go back to Egypt and understand what was going on in the civilizations. You know, I really wanted to get down to the nitty gritty, the Ebers Papyrus. I wanted to know what roots they were putting together, how they were healing people in every shape of the word, heal. And so with pre-med, I know that the intimidation tactics, I know the training that goes on where it's just like this rote, everybody has to go through the same kind of training. So it actually turned me off. I didn't go to med school. I was just like, no, guys, I'm a feeler. I'm a healer. I need room. I want to make sure that I get to care for the whole person in front of me, right? But that is not what this medical system is founded upon. Not at all. So they're going to intimidate you. But at the end of the day, a doctor's a practitioner. They don't know. They're just trying out based upon whatever symptoms you present to them. That's what they're bringing. They're bringing that to the table, and their expectation of what might happen. But like I said, with my family, they didn't expect for her to have every side effect. Wow. They didn't expect, you know, and I'm like, did y'all prepare for this? Like, do y'all see her? She's not doing well here. After what you gave her, what we're doing? So it's an interesting, this whole thing is just a very interesting time. I think that however we move, whether we get the vaccine, we don't, we this, whatever, however we move, we need to be moving informed. Right. That's exactly. Well informed and advocate for yourself. And advocate. You have the power. We have the power to advocate, to speak up, to say no. She was saying, no, I don't want that to them in there. And I'm like, whoa, look at this lady advocating for herself in here. Yeah. And they're like, well, you know, if you don't take this, no. And I'm like, what she said? She said, no, she doesn't want it. Right. She doesn't want it. So I learned about advocacy in that way. And I really think about it in terms of just like my own field, like our industry that we're in. And I'm like, how many times have I really advocated for myself? Like the one thing that stands out for me in terms of like speaking out against somebody that I thought was like more powerful than me in the moment was when I saw on an audition, the casting director was like going to throw away all of the people who got cuts picture and headshots. And I went up to him and I said, can I have mine back, please?
Okay.
Because I know you're going to throw it in the trash. And that thing
Toss
cost me
it.
$5 from the Staples downstairs.
That
So,
shit's expensive. Adds up.
so, you know, like even something as minimal as that, like speak up for yourself. Like,
Yes.
excuse me, I know you're going to throw my thing away since I'm not the role for you. So can I just have my thing back, please? My headshot and my resume thing.
Yeah. No, we have to speak up for ourselves, whether it's auditions, whether it's surgical, whatever it is. Now, you know what? All bets are off now. We're in the middle of this damn pandemic. It's now or never if we're not speaking up for
Speak up
ourselves.
for ourselves. And speak up for our feelings. Speak up, whether it's relationships, friendships, anything, just like speak up for ourselves.
Yes.
And not in a nasty way, not in any kind of controversial way.
No.
Just literally just like advocate.
Yeah. And I find that especially with relationships going into Valentine's weekend and all that. But, you know, in past relationships, it's, you know, if you do speak up for yourself and that person, or friendships, and that person can't take it, well, that person ain't for you.
Period.
Oh.
Period. I remember somebody saying to me, "Oh my God, you're too much." And I said, "No, your hands are full."
Oh. You know what?
No, your hands are full. That's what happened. Your plate is full. Your cup runneth over. So of course I'm gonna look like a lot to you.
Yeah.
Because you can't handle me.
Right.
Because anybody that can handle me, their hands are open, empty, ready to receive. Boom, ready to take it on. Okay. Yeah. And so that, look, my mom says this all the time. She's in here. She said, "Those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind." Thank you, mommy, for that.
Thank you, Mommy Wisdom. I love you and your mom together. When I see you guys' pictures, you know, my mom is just in Philly, but of course, now with COVID, you know, I've seen her once this year.
Oh, yeah, that's tight. Yeah. It's hard.
It's so hard. I'm so glad you guys are, you know, near each other.
It's so hard.
But well, we lift you up.
Thank you. I appreciate
that. Prayers for Nana, her transition, and however we can help and support. I did link a small donation ask on the chat. So if you guys are watching, it's right on the front of my page. So but it links right to your company, your organization, which I also want to talk about, obviously. But so going back through, just looking through your bio and all the work that you've done. Yeah, please, your mom is so amazing, but tell me, you know, how getting into dance, knowing about the arts, and teaching since you're 11, like, what?
Right. How did it all happen? Well, my spirit has probably been here before, okay? Oh, yeah. Like, I know for sure I was here during the Harlem Renaissance, like that I know, okay?
Yes.
But in terms of coming through into this world, so my mom, when I was in her belly, would try out different names, and Charisma was the only name I would dance to. So I would stretch my elbow and push it out and move around. And she's like, "Am I feeling what I'm feeling? Am I witnessing what I'm witnessing?"
Yeah.
She had that vision to be able to honor it.
Yes.
Because I was communicating. And so every morning or night, if she had a question, "Oh, good morning, Charisma. Do you want orange juice today?" You know, and I'm like moving and I'm dancing. So I came out of the womb dancing. In terms of my structural dance classes, I actually started in Africa. My mom took me on my first trip to Africa, and I was learning dance from one of the African master teachers, who actually is still my teacher to today.
Oh, wow.
And just like being in the village and seeing, like, you know, just like there are goats walking by and women with baskets, you know, it's like the production of it all, the beauty of it all. When I came here, and I'm like, but I have to be contained and stand upright and, like, you know, like, how do, like, no, I thought we get down. I thought we get down. Get down.
Yes.
So that was a transition for me because I started out with West African dance. Now my mom, she was an accountant, but she also used to take dance class. She was a dancer. So, and she still takes dance class.
Yes.
So my mom would take me to the old Ailey building and take Kevin Ayega Jeff's class. And I would see everybody.
Yes.
Like, all of the masters were in there. Everybody was in there. Like, Quiera was in there. Melissa Vaughn. Passing through.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, like, all of these masters. Bahia is, you know, they're doing their Jaquette, like all of these, like just like master teachers. Jamel in there, everybody.
Yes.
And sitting on the outside of the door and watching magic, because that was a beautiful time. Like that, I really am so grateful to have come from that generation of dance, that jubilation generation.
Yeah. Ooh, say it again. Say it again.
It was like no other. The jubilation time of dance, of modern dance, of passion. I mean, and to this day, Deeply Rooted is still keeping that same energy alive. You know, a lot of us are still keeping that same energy alive. But being back then in that time, watching those greats and others just like dance.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like dance. Elena dance.
Oh,
whoa.
Girl, you ain't said a word. Girl, you ain't said
and
Elena
being little and just like sopping it up. You know, just like sopping it. Me and Gray used to sit on the outside of the door watching them, just like, oh my God. Oh my God. This is amazing. So coming from that.
Yeah, when I first got to Philadelphia, 14, 15, I was in the training program, and I used to stay behind after our class was over to watch Philadelphia's main company, Elena Anderson.
Mother.
Done. And then when Aunt Joan, Miss Joan Myers Brown, invited me into the main company class, I mean, I was so intimidated and terrified by Elena because, you know, she had that stern, you know, that face. And but she, not only could she dance her behind off, she had her ballon, her jump. She had a jump
like a reindeer. It's like a reindeer.
I used to challenge myself, and she'll be looking at me like, what? To go across the floor with her in class, just because.
Right.
And by the time I graduated up actually into the main company full time, she had gone on, I guess, to be with Jubilation and Kevin Jeff. And so I remember being so disappointed that she had left the company.
Major.
Because I wanted to dance alongside her, but then to see her amazing daughter Gray,
major.
Ellie, come on,
major. I remember crying watching her do "Fix Me, Jesus" for the first. I've been going, and that's the other thing about my mom. Like my mom has been taking me to see Ellie, to see all kinds of dance, operas, all kinds of things my whole life. Like I've been really just like rooted in the arts because she noticed that I was an artist and she wanted to like just water that seed. Okay, if you're an artist, like let's expose you to all the art you can possibly get. Let's take you to these different countries. Let's expose you to the different languages and like throw you in the beast. Like I would be in villages, like no lights on, no electricity. You gotta pee in a hole. And she's like, well, we're artists out here on this experience, you know, like straight. This
is the artist experience, peeing in a hole.
We are out here in this hut, mommy. Okay, we're gonna thug it out. We'll be okay. Boom. Yeah. So having that kind of backing really just carried me, and I was able to see so much art and so much quality art. That was the biggest thing. And whenever my mom needed, like whatever she needed me to see or needed me to get, she would figure out a way. So at one point she took a job working for New York City Ballet because she knew that they gave out free tickets to their employees.
You know what?
And we would go watch ballet for free. It was like amazing. Okay. Like
that's awesome.
So just, you know, even if it's a sister you have or a friend you have, like somebody in your corner that's just like, all right, we got to make this work. This is how we gonna make it work. You know, so that's really what then catapulted me into not only being that kind of artist, but that kind of person who wants to be enterprising, figuring it out, like however I need, whatever I need to do, figure it out. I started out at Ife Tayo, so I started out with Sister Choira, and then I moved to Melissa Vaughn, and I was at Professional Center for the Arts for a few years, and then I took this Deeply Rooted winter intensive, and I was with a bunch of Jamel Gaines creative outlet babies, right? And they weren't babies at the time. We were all in our 9th year of high school. We were in our 9th grade. And they were dancing. And I'm like,
dancing.
And I was in another high school at the time. So I was like, I want to be where they are, you know, the room where it happens. I want to dance with them, mommy. And she's like, well, let's find out where they go. So I found out that they were at LaGuardia. All of those those dancers from his school were at LaGuardia. So then I transferred to LaGuardia.
Mm-hmm.
And it just opened up so many doors and so many relationships, like so many sincere relationships at LaGuardia.
Mm-hmm.
I fell in love with Graham from the first contraction. I was just like, girl,
Yeah.
this is me, okay? This is who I am. And then we took court, and I'm like, no, this is who I am. You know, just like anything that is a full expression of the body and the full articulation of the legs and the arms and the feet. Like, I'm just like, I'm sure on this call people can see, like, I'm passionate. So I'm just like, you know, if it's a turn, if it's a contraction, like, I'm here for it. So I actually, after I graduated early because I got skipped in school. So I graduated at 16. And while everybody else was like getting their college application letters and trying to like figure that out, I actually was kind of fearful because I didn't want to have to choose. I'm a math girl. I like algebra. I've always been a math girl. And I'm also an artist. So I had those two parts in my brain. And a conservatory just wasn't the route I wanted to take because I knew I wanted some strong, like real strong academics. So at the time, I decided to take a year off. So I was like, Mommy, is that okay with you? Like, is it okay? I really love school, but I can't find the place that's going to help me to marry those two things that I put together. So she agreed that it was okay for me to take the time off. And literally when everybody was graduating, I was actually going to rehearsals with Ron Brown. I became an apprentice with Ron Brown during the time that everybody was in graduation rehearsals. So I'm like, needing a pass to leave school early to go and be an apprentice because I'm like, my gig started. Like, I gotta go. I'm not going to school yet. I have to figure that part out. And so I actually started with the Ron Brown Company at the age of 16. So I was an apprentice with them at the age of 16. And a funny story about that is that in digging through some crates a few years back, I found some video of my mom and another friend of hers and Ron in a studio downtown, like old video. And I'm like, what are y'all doing? My mom's like, oh yeah, Ron was starting his company and he just wanted to. I said, wait a minute.
What?
Come on. So then she's like, look in the corner. Who do you see? And I'm like, what? I'm literally sitting in the corner on the floor doing my homework. Yes. I am literally sitting on the corner on the floor doing my homework while my mom. And I said that, you know, all choreographers really, when they start their companies or they're thinking about it, they grab their friends, they grab people to just chop some movement. And so my mom was in the room where it happens too.
Oh my gosh.
So it was funny that then that was my first job in the dance industry because I'm an evidence baby, like literally there from the beginning.
I didn't realize that actually when I was looking through your resume. I didn't realize you worked. I mean, I knew about Creative Outlet and Kevin Nayega. I did not know about Evidence. That's amazing. I love Ron. How much do we love Ron?
Love Uncle Ron. Love Uncle Ron. Love Uncle Ron. So I toured with the company, and it was during that year. So I was still trying to figure out, like, I want to go back to school. Like, I really, you know, I wanted to get the education, and I started training with this Russian ballet dancer in her living room. She spoke no English. It was the best time of my life. It was the best technique I ever got in my life.
Yes.
And then in doing my research, I found that the place where I could really bridge both of my talents, both of my interests, was a place for individualized study, somewhere that I could craft my own program. And so that's when I found Gallatin and applied to NYU and was able to put all of my different likes together, all of those different passions together. And, you know, the rest is history. I've been on that path to balance ever since, really to take on not only the academics, but the arts in me as well.
But it clearly has, the Maura's in there from Hunter.
Hey, Maura!
Love this story. Yes, we do. I mean, this is so incredible because, you know, obviously I've only known you, so I was trying to remember where we actually met the first time. And I was talking to Jamel earlier and I was digging through my pictures. And then I remembered it was in Red Hook Park, Brooklyn. And Jamel, Creative Outlet Dance Theater, Jamel Gaines. He was supposed to teach the free dance masterclass before my summer stage event. He called me and was like,
I'm not going to make it.
I'm caught up somewhere. I can't make it. I'm sending my dancer, Charisma J. She's going to teach the class. I was like, okay. And I remember saying to him, and this is real, well, make sure she gets paid for this because the check was already cut to him.
I did get paid.
Okay. The check was already cut.
I did get paid for it. Hey, Jamel. He's one of my dance dads. I did get paid for it.
I said, make sure she gets paid for this, Jamel. But anyway, and I saw you up there, and it was so amazing. And you with them kids and everything else. So I've called on you several times since. Yeah. And it's been so amazing. But I really want to talk about, because we're already at 5:45. It's crazy. But I want to talk about, I know you toured with Stomp. Also, you've done a bunch of touring with Stomp, TV shows, and all of the above. And so taking all of your dance experience, what was it like going from, you know, concert dance worlds with Evidence and the like into now you're in this big off-Broadway show, Stomp, doing the same thing pretty much every single night? Like, what was that like for you?
Well, you know, I'm from the old school training, right? So like all of my teachers, Jamel, Melissa, Quayera, like everybody that I've had in my training, even the Russian ballet teacher, the name of the game was versatility. Like even that story of Jamel literally calling me and saying, Charisma, you're going to teach, me not knowing where I'm going, what I'm doing, and showing up ready to work is just the name of how I've been trained. Like that's, yeah. I don't need but like 3 sentences: the address, the phone number of the person that I need to contact, yeah, and what I need to wear. All right, cool. I'm ready to go. So I've always had this kind of bag of tricks, and I just pull out for the day. Like, okay, that's right, we're on. So for me, going from that concert dance to off Broadway, the one thing that I'll say that was different is that, to a degree, I'm used to having that like huge family structure, you know, like within the dance company, or with, like we grow together. We, you know, we know each other's names, grandmother's names. We're at their house for Thanksgiving. And that's not always the case when you're on a TV set or when you're in a, you know, Broadway show or an off-Broadway show, because everybody has their various lives and things to do. And there's always this thing going. So for me, what was kind of, I would say, the most difficult part of the transition was not growing up with these people, like not having known them for so long, you know. So I'm like, oh, I got to get to know the idiosyncrasies, the ins and outs of your personality. I got to try to like make friends and connect with people. And they're from all these different walks of life. So it really just took some patience, because I was the newbie for a while. And I would say that as far as the performance, like when the lights go on, I know what to do. Okay. Right. Like shade. Yeah. But it was the behind the scenes stuff, the inner workings of the social dynamic that I think I really had to put my mind to work on, because it wasn't always as easy as me dancing with my brothers that I've danced with my whole life. Or, you know, the dance world is very small, so everybody knows somebody. But in a show like Stomp, I mean, aside from maybe 2 of the dancers that I knew who were older than me, I didn't know anybody. So I'm like, oh, and then we're traveling the world. So we're on these, you know, tours in these different places. And I'm like, wow, like I really just miss, I remember calling mommy and be like, I just want to come home. Like, I just want friends, mommy. I don't have any friends. You know, so it was the social component that I would say was the most difficult to transition into. Yeah. So you started in the tour and then came to the New York I was so floored, because I had also had Abundance at that time. I was just starting out with Abundance, and I was like, I know that they're gonna keep me here because I have a business here, I have things to do. And they were like, you're going on the international. Okay, I'm going on the international tour. I'm going on the national and international tour. Yes. And it was actually, you know, Stomp is one of those shows where everything that you've been doing up until that point prepares you, because the African dance, a lot of the rhythms are African rhythms. Can I be clear? Yes. Body shade. I know that, you know, it wasn't African creators, but that's what it is. Right. That's who created the original rhythms. Let's be clear. Okay. So a lot of the rhythms were based upon African principle. I had a lot of expression, and I can move my body and groove in a certain way that was my African, my modern dance, my ballet training. Everywhere I went, no matter what tour stop, I found a ballet school to take a ballet class. Like I used ballet and dance as my warm-up, regardless of whether I was going to be beating a drum or a garbage can or what have you. So I had all those things already in my arsenal, and I was able to just, you know, really execute and express myself and all the facets of myself in that beautiful show. Yes.
And so that's primarily also too why I want to talk to you today, because if you're just joining us, talking to Charisma J, Brooklyn born and raised, yes, yes, Abundance Academy of the Arts. Am I saying it right?
Of the arts.
Yes. And so you started. Where's my little notebook? You started that with the blessing or the mentorship of a Miss Cheryl.
Yeah, Miss Cheryl Smith.
Tell us about Miss Cheryl.
So she had a school called Full of Energy School of Dance that she started 18 years prior. And she just like literally wanted to take someone under her wing and show her the ropes, if you will, and pass on the torch and pass on the legacy. And at the time, I actually was teaching and working, dancing with Creative Outlet and feeling like, is this the move? Like, where do I go? Like, what do I do? But one thing that was really clear is that I adopted an abundant mentality, and I was looking for more avenues of abundance. Like I was saying these affirmations that my mom told me. And one of them is like, you know, God, I now accept my abundance of good. Like everything that you have for me is mine and I receive it. I want to take it on. I now accept my abundance of good. So I kept saying these abundance affirmations. And then upon meeting Miss Cheryl, abundance just kind of showed up. Literally, as in the word abundance showed up in my life and all of the manifestations of abundance showed up in my life. So at that time I got stomped. I was like, oh my God, I got to be careful with the abundance that I asked for.
Okay.
Because all this abundance started rushing in. Like at the time I actually had an art gallery. I was like, oh my God. There's so many parts of me. Which way do I go? And so when Miss Cheryl said, you know, I want to help you to have your own, like I want to help you have this school, I then like started with abundance. And I actually was thinking at one point, like, you know, the word abundance is usually tied to like spirituality. Maybe I should name it abundance. And I'm like, girl, abundance changed your life. The word abundance has changed your life.
Yes.
Okay? So when it came time to name it, it was only right to name the school Abundance. And I'm still working on my abundance ever since.
Yes, you are. And so that was 2013?
2014.
Okay. And so looking through the notes and looking through the website, and again, guys, Charisma's website can be found in the links in my bio, my link tree to the company, to the organization. And just really, we don't have enough time to even go through all the things that she's created over the years, but huge productions at the King's Theater in Flatbush. I mean, the level of productions this woman puts together are incredible. You've done The Wiz. I mean, I just see the pictures. I'm just like, what? And we know how big that theater is, right?
Yeah.
You are doing it.
Yeah.
So please, if you can, please support. But I really loved on the side of the website where it talks about the classes, and it's all about flowers, seed.
Seed,
really, that I
seed, bud, blossom.
Morning. Seed, bud, and blossom.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
I was thinking about, well, you know that quote, like that the oppressors tried to like bury us in the ground. They didn't know we were seeds.
Okay, you know what?
There it is, guys.
You got me now. That's it.
That we were seeds. Little did they know we were seeds.
Oh,
that African proverb. I'm like, wait a minute. We were seeds, and we are meant to bud, and we are meant to blossom. We are meant to grow into the fabulous trees that, you know, and like when you think about like the baobab tree, that thing is hundreds of years old. Yeah. So what was interesting actually, most recent like weather conditions, is that when all those trees started getting uprooted from the parks, from the streets, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of history. That's a lot of energy. So I'm a tree hugger. I went and hugged them and gave them burials. I was like, I feel honored to have witnessed this magnanimous tree in front of me that provided oxygen for me and that provided all of this like amazing vitality and saw so much. I mean, even in our history, they hung us on these trees. You know, it's like, whoa, the fact that these trees are our present day historians, our present day griots, right? Yes. They have all this energy and all of this light. So for me, when it came time to think about like the structure of abundance and like how would I describe our students and their different ages, it was like, oh no, we are seeds that bud and we blossom into these magnanimous trees that really can't be uprooted. Like, unless it's Mother Nature that's coming up in here. You know what I mean?
Love that. Oh my God, guys, please, if you can, go to the site, donate at the link on my page. And so with your school, and we know we're in the middle of this awful pandemic, and but in the midst of that, what you had a situation where you had to move. Was it 2017?
Yeah. We
Talk about that a little bit.
I think that the biggest challenge that I think we as people of color have, aside from access, is the divisive techniques that were used against our own people. Like, so we actually were operating our nonprofit out of the storefront of a building that was owned by its tenants, right? And the tenants were people of color. And in my own humble opinion, I feel that they saw all of the light and all of the glory that was coming into that space, and it was too much. It was too much. And that sometimes can happen in our communities. Like, there'll be some levels of jealousy, there'll be some levels of sabotage, because we have been conditioned to be divisive as a people. Unfortunately, we were actually pit up against each other. Like, that's just what that was, right? Historically. So when it came time for us to renew our lease, they actually tripled our rent out of nowhere.
The hell?
And it's just like, they're just wicked people. I've just had to come to terms with that. Sometimes people just need to do for their own interest, and it doesn't matter if you are doing for the interest of the community. Sometimes this is just the way that things happen. But I also think that divinely, I was actually writing the play for Abundance to Do, and the play was based upon Sister Act. So I think that I really think that everything is connected. Here it is. I'm a performer trying to keep my school from closing, and I'm writing an adaptation of Sister Act, which is a story of a performer who helps the schools stay open, right? And so there were like so many just like parallels. And when it came time for me, like, I usually write the story where we have a big band. It's like full Broadway in Brooklyn. Like, I've always been go hard. Yeah, go hard or go home. So I'm writing the story, and I'm trying to figure out that section where she goes out into the street and she's asking everybody, you know, hey, we're raising money. We're calling out to you. And I'm actually raising money. We actually have a GoFundMe. Like, we're actually living this, right? Art imitates life. So in that moment, I'm like, all right, we going out into the theater. So we had the show at King's Theater. Everybody had on habits. I found on Amazon the long collection plates. And I said, we have a live band. We're going live with this. So we started actually raising money in the theater. And everyone was like, is this real? And I'm like, yeah, this is real, guys, on the stage.
Drop them dollars.
Yes, we are raising money. Yeah, I'm talking to you. And so in terms of like that conflict that turned into just like conquering, right? That turned into victory. It went from this like really sad situation where we were uprooted and trying to figure out how we were going to survive to our community supporting us. We raised over $30,000 on GoFundMe. We raised $4,000 that night in the theater. And it's the reason, even now during this pandemic, some of the Abundance parents and families are in here tonight. The reason why we are still here is because of those families. I'm serious. I keep thinking that we're going to close. I keep like waking up with one eye open. Like, are we still here? Somehow we're still here because the families genuinely support us.
Yes. And now you're on Sullivan Street. Was it 90 Sullivan?
Sullivan Place. Yeah, 90 Sullivan Place. We have a 2,000 square foot facility. And actually, that particular year, so we've been here since that year. I was going to go with another place. I was thinking maybe we should close, and then drove down this block and found this new building that had 3 stores. So we were able to combine all 3 stores. And one thing about our organization is that I've always wanted it to be strictly dedicated to the arts. Like we have sprung floors. Like I want you to have the fullest expression. Like my mom wanted for me when I was little. You're going to go to this country and you're going to have to bathe outside in the bathroom outside of the house because you need to have the full experience. Okay? You have to have the fullest expression of the experience. And so I just like genuinely wanted that for our students. So we have 2 studios. We have turned a 3rd studio into what was their dressing room because of pandemic. We actually like just had to flip. And so we've now had a 3rd studio that we're operating out of. And the community just wants us here. And I'm really grateful. I'm a vessel. Abundance is beyond me. It's in the community. It's in God's hands. I said, 7 years ago, we're turning 7 at March 1st. I said 7 years ago, God is my abundant supply, and he really is. He genuinely is. I don't know how we are here. We, as a nonprofit, like so many, did not get that round of PPP. We didn't get that funding like we deserved. Those small businesses that had 500 employees got that instead of, like, I'm like, small businesses, that door doesn't open unless I have the key, okay? That's what small business is.
Okay, thank you.
Small business is not under 500 employees.
No.
Small business is 10 to 30. Let's be clear.
Oh, that's right.
So I'm just grateful because we are still here. At one point, the parents, like, I was crying and saying, you know what, we're just going to close. Like, I just can't do this anymore. And the parents actually donated even while we were closed. Even while we were closed, they for September and August, they paid tuition like they were still there. Like that. That's why we're here. Honestly, that's why we're here. And I'm grateful. I'm like,
testament to who you are.
But that's why we're here. So now we've been able to pivot, and we actually rent out the space to studios and organizations, cultural organizations, commercial organizations who need space to socially distance and rehearse. Like they still have art that they want to create and need to teach a Zoom class, rent for a workshop, that kind of thing. So we have been able to sustain in some regard that way. But this is a time, boy. I'm not even, aside from me having to deal with, like, me at home, to then have to deal with a storefront, a commercial storefront of nonprofit business and a for-profit establishment with for-profit landlords who don't believe that this pandemic exists and don't wear masks and don't in their organization, in their streets.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, this is actually very real. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful that abundance is still here.
Yeah, and I was so grateful also. I mean, I'm sorry that you've had to go through all of this, but I was grateful to see the notice and the mention of you in that New York Times article.
Yeah.
You and Miss Dwana.
Yeah, Dwana. Miss Dwana Small.
We had a great conversation back.
She's amazing. And she and I are working to, like, put some things together because, by divine, like, we've been always meaning to come together in some capacity, and it just worked out that we were featured in the same New York Times article. But I will say, and I haven't shared this publicly, but I will say that in terms of that article, so there's two parts to that article. The one part of it is that I know that they were talking about us fearing, the loss of possibility, and it came off as what we have had to do in a pandemic. And some people could easily go, well, that's not a positive. The fact that we were two Black women in the New York Times, okay, and we weren't being criticized, and our pieces weren't being, you understand?
Yes.
It is a blessing. And so I just received it as a blessing.
Yes.
But in terms of advocacy, I know I started off this call talking about advocacy. In terms of advocacy, when they called me, I actually was supposed to just get a quote in that article.
Yeah.
They called me.
Give me 1 second. My phone never rings. I do have a landline. This never happens. Let me hold that thought, y'all. This is live, right? Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
I was like, I haven't heard a landline in ages.
Girl, this is live.
Yes, this is. I'm down for it.
Okay.
My phone was ringing behind us, but I just didn't answer it because I was like, I hope they don't hear. Let me keep talking. But I was just supposed to have a quote in that. Like, they called me and they were like, we're getting different quotes for different, from different organizations, and we wanted to just hear about your perspective. And I actually said that I am more than a quote. And this was the first time that I've ever done this in my life. This is the first time that I've ever done this. I said I'm more than a quote for what I've had to endure during this pandemic. Just being a quote in a newspaper is going to, and it's no shade to them.
No.
But for what I need visibility. I need support. I need help. This is a state of emergency.
You're not a soundbite.
And I'm not a quote, guys. I have to be more than a quote. So if you have more than a quote space, then give me a call back and we can chat. But if you need a quote and that's all you need, then I can't. I can't.
Yes.
And it was the first time I've ever done it. Mind you, if you asked me weeks prior, I was like, we really need visibility. I'll take anything, God. Please just, like, please help us out. But then to get to that point where, like, I could advocate for our organization and our people and advocate for the space that we need to create. And like, to anybody on this call, that's what is needed right now. We as people of color need to, like, kick these doors down. We need to demand, like, what we want, and not in a negative, uprising, taking over the Capitol allegedly thing. No, I'm talking about some strategic partnerships, some strategic collaborations that actually advocate for our people.
Yes.
Period.
Yes. Wow. Well, this has certainly been a theme today. Advocacy for yourself and for others that might need that word or that push, or when they can't speak for themselves.
And they can't speak up for themselves. Speak up
for
them. Be there, be there standing, their crutch that they can lean on.
No.
Period.
Absolutely. And that's, honestly, and that's how, in my role as a presenter, trying to advocate for artists.
You're doing it.
Oh, thanks.
You have been. Miss Danny, I'm serious. I know it's not easy. You're in these hard positions, these hard spaces, and you are trying, like, I didn't even know you said to Jamel, make sure she gets the pay. Like, you are one of our advocates.
Thank you.
No, and I know you're working hard. This is not easy, and you're trying to hold on to post-pandemic, to try to hold on to post-pandemic and present virtually during time.
Girl.
Did you say girl? We said girl at the same time. I said girl.
Girl, today is a lot. But yes. But you know what? What's that saying? Too much is given,
much is required. Mm-hmm.
So I got big shoulders. I do.
My great grandmother, I remember, and I said this to her because she would say this to us: broaden your back. I remember one time my mom was going through it, and my great grandmother sat up so quick. This was a few years back, and she said, "Sandra, broaden your back." So in the hospital, I was saying, and then broaden your back, huh? That's what you would be telling me. You would be telling me to broaden my back. Mm-hmm. Like, you could take it. You could, let's go. We're ready. But we can't do it alone. So you are not alone. However I can support you, you support us. Thank you for this. Like, we have to do it together, because now more than ever, in this time where they are isolating us on purpose, no shade, but we are isolated right now. We have to figure out more ways to connect.
Yes. Charisma, I applaud you. You are a bold, beautiful Black woman. I adore you.
I adore you.
Guys, go to the website. It's in the link of my bio. Donate if you can. We got to keep this sister lifted and flourishing and thriving, and not surviving, thriving.
That part. Thriving. That part.
Anything we can do, keep us posted.
Please follow us. Yeah, follow us on Abundance BK, and love you back, Julieta. Love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, Natalie.
Yeah.
And I would just say, one of my biggest things now is, like, especially with this master's, like, to be quotable right now, and what I mean by that is, like, my thesis was dedicated to my people, like, straight, like my thesis was basically a show that I wrote where I wanted to emulate my people and emulate the influences and sacrifices and all of the in between, the all of us, right? The all of it and all of us.
Yeah.
And so in being in that kind of space where now my thesis is an article, it's a document that can be quoted. Like, these are the kind of strategies that I'm wanting to implement for my people. I'm trying to be, whether it be judge and jury on some of these, like, dissertations or what, like, however we can get access, our information can be documented and protected at the same time. That's the mission for me. My mission is to tell the stories of our people in a very, very bold and very clear way and clear way, but also take us all with, like, come on, like, we're all coming. We're all coming with that high level of quality and intentionality. Like, that's the old school that we've come from.
That's
where, like, the way you point your foot is the way that you write your name.
You know what? Girl, you better come on, Charisma.
That's how I learned. It's like the way I put on my earring today is the same way that I need to be intentional about my dégagé, right?
Ooh.
It's the same technique. Everything is a technique. So for me, I'm really like committed, and it's hard work. It is not easy. It is not easy, but I'm really committed to being that intentional about my everyday and my goal. Like my
yes. And I can't let you go without congratulating you on that summa
you.
cum laude.
Yes, girl. That's another girl.
You're right.
Girl.
Master of Fine Arts
Fine Art
at Hunter.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, doing it all the way through.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
So I will let you go. Thank you for spending this time. Prayers up for your family. Condolences. Big hug to your mommy for me.
Thank you. Appreciate it. And we have to get together. I don't know what it looks like or we gotta. Maybe it's like a check-in every couple of months, just like what can we do? How can we do it? I'm saying I want that for all of us. I really do. I want us all to be on some kind of global artist call.
Yes.
Check in and we all just talk together about.
I love that.
About things, like how we all can support each other. So like I said, me and Mr. Warner are trying to come together to formulate something. We don't have all of the language yet, but like we don't take it for granted that we both were put on that article together and we're both in this and we're voices for change in some capacity. So we want to include you and all the other art changers and world changers into this conversation about how we can stay connected, because we're being separated piece by piece,
and we won't let them do it. We won't let them do it.
It ain't happening. We have brought in backs, boo. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Right.
It's not happening. They try to squash us, but we're seeds.
That's right. So
love to you.
Love to you too. I'll let you go now. Enjoy your weekend. I can't see the X to let you out. I'm not sure that Instagram keeps changing these algorithms, so I'll let you close out so I don't close the whole thing.
Okay.
But thank you, Charisma J.
Thank you so much. Thank you, guys. All right, bye now.
Bye. Oh my goodness gracious! I'm telling you guys, Charisma J. Look at me. I'm a broken down. My mascara's off in my eyeballs. That was amazing. Please go to her site, Abundance Dance Academy of Arts. Donate if you can, anything you can. Obviously, you know that any amount is a blessing. She is just a force. Oh, I'm so proud to present these people to you through my platform. And that was a lot. So if you missed any portion of this, I'll have it saved on my IGTV here on Instagram, but also on my YouTube channel, Danny GTV. And again, once again, I was going to shout out Chloe Davis for her new book. And, yes, it's Valentine's weekend, all of that, but that's a made-up day. But just keep loving on yourselves, loving on each other, loving on your family, just love life as much as you can. And here we are. So I appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your evening and much love. Thanks for watching. Okay. Bye.